Next week, we'll be discussing Casino Royale from 2006. Tom, how was your watch?
I love this movie. I saw this in theaters in 2006 when it first came out. I've watched it a few times since then. I really like Daniel Craig as James Bond. I I enjoy the James Bond series through and through, despite the fact that probably more of them are duds than are not. However, I would say that despite the praise that Sean Connery gets for his role as James Bond, I think Daniel Craig is my favorite Bond. Connery became a really great actor later in his career, but as James Bond, he's a serviceable, handsome face. Daniel Craig in the role is he's already a fantastic actor. And he reinvents the character by drawing not only from the books, but also kind of innovating in these ways. And his sort of arc of trajectory of the character actually persists through the five films in which he appears as Bond. Even though these films are of uneven quality, it is really interesting to see his reimagining of the character from this kind of, fun fantasy figure to really a tragic figure, which is what those five films kind of depict. And I think this movie it captures a little bit of that, but it also has chase scenes that are kind of a little more grounded than earlier James Bond things, which are more exciting to watch, I think. And also the chemistry between him and Eva Green is pretty amazing. I mean, I think these two actors would be amazing in a romantic comedy if they were, young enough to do that. And so I can't say enough good things about this movie. Dad, how was your first watch?
Oh, it was good. You got to remember, my first Bond movies as a kid, seeing them in the theater, I was like 13 years old. So Sean Connery was always the Bond to me. I mean, when you're 13, you want to grow up to be James Bond. You want at least a learner's permit to kill if you can't get a. But uh, but this was good. I mean, the technology of the filming has gotten so much better. But when you consider, in 63, 64, what they were doing with the chase scenes and all that, it was pretty phenomenal. But I enjoyed this movie. I enjoyed I enjoy all Bond movies. I can't help it. I'm addicted to Bond. And I enjoyed this movie. The one thing I was a little miffed with was his that he got so romantically involved because that wasn't Bond. Bond was separated from all feelings. Um, but it was good. The technology was great. The filming of it was good. The acting was good. He's probably, I mean, for me, it'll always be Sean Connery, but he's probably the second best Bond. And I understand as young people seeing him for the first time and not being indoctrinated with Sean Connery, that he would be your favorite Bond. So it was good. It was enjoyable. I watched it a few times, trying to get all the facts down so I could win the contest.
High stakes.
I need the new car, so Hey KJ, so what did you think? How was your viewing of this?
So this was my first viewing. I had not seen a Daniel Craig Bond before this, although my introduction to Daniel Craig at Bond was at the 2012 Summer Olympics, where he escorts the Queen to the opening ceremony. No, I like Alex growing up with Sean Connery. I grew up with Pierce Brosnan, and compared to this movie, the Pierce Brosnan Bonds are Saturday morning cartoons. This is violent. This is mean. I don't think he has any charisma whatsoever. There's no cheeky. He never like winks at the camera. Nothing. He's just a mean dude the whole time. So, audience, if you're expecting, Goldeneye, this is not Goldeneye. It's violence. I hesitate to put this on with your kids. How about you, Nick? How's your watch?
I know this is at least my second watch, and I may have seen it in the theaters. Tom was talking about that earlier, but I know I did see this film around when it did come out. I have not seen all the Daniel Craig Bonds, and I wouldn't call myself a Bondophile here either, but I have seen various ones with different James Bonds throughout the years. I will say it brings me great joy to know that Tom is fond of a movie that I am also fond of. So there we go. It's not always the
Hallelujah.
case,
It's
And
finally happened.
Tom recommended a movie that started after 2000. So I mean,
Yeah,
this is
I
uncharted
know.
territory here.
Yeah, we're
But
breaking molds tonight.
but I think it was a good one for you to pick because it really showed the early stages of Bond. And I think Alex alluded to this too. He's a little bit more rash and immature here. He even lets his emotions get in the way towards the end of this film, which he grows out of real quick. So I think we see more of the, more immature, growing James Bond from his youth in the role as 007. And as Tom said, I haven't seen all of his other ones, but I do think he does grow further from here. So I'm really looking forward to talking about this one further next week.
Casino Royale is available on HBO Max at the time of this recording.